Times of Israel writes the following here. We talked about this earlier. IDF remains of Kfir and Ariel Bibas ID'd. The third body sent by Hamas is not their mom, Shiri Bibas, Aaron. I mean, it's a significant developing story in what's happening in this hostage negotiation trade.
So here's where I'm at with that one. We need to understand what the goal of Hamas is, what the goal of terrorists are, and that's to inflict the maximum amount of psychological and emotional trauma to the Israeli public as possible. When you start bringing those boxes out and you put them on a stage with a backdrop of Bibi looking like the devil, with Hamas with that green bandana that says Hat al-Mut in Arabic, or to the death, it terrorizes the Israeli public. And the goal of Hamas with these delayed transitions of these bodies and bringing them out could be by design. And what it does is it creates that division between the Israeli public and the government. Is the government in Israel doing enough for us? Are they taking care of us? Is this war worth it? And so that's exactly what it's designed to do, and I feel like it works. But Israelis just need to remain strong, Trace.
War isn't just fought on the battlefield. It's fought in the minds. And Hamas understands this better than most terrorist organizations. And that's why they don't just kill their victims. They make sure the world watches. They make sure that families suffer long after the attack. They use psychological warfare as a weapon to break Israel from the inside. And what we just saw, the public display of murdered Israeli hostages, including a mother and her two young children, is psychological warfare at its purest form. Hamas didn't just return the bodies, they turned them into a spectacle. They paraded those tiny coffins, draped them in propaganda, and let a bloodthirsty crowd of so-called innocent civilians celebrate their deaths. This wasn't just an act of brutality. This is a calculated strategy to terrorize every single Israeli family. And on this episode, I'm going to deep dive into exactly how Hamas manipulates fear, controls narrative, and why the only way to defeat them is to destroy their ability to wage psychological warfare forever. Terrorism isn't just about killing people. It's about breaking the enemy's will to fight. And that's what psychological warfare is. And Hamas has mastered it. Psychological warfare is about fear. It's about control. And it's about making the enemy doubt themselves, to hesitate, and lose the battle before the first shot's even fired. And Hamas knows they can't beat Israel in a real war, so they lean into psychological tactics to force Israel into bad decisions. They don't just take hostages. They record their suffering. They release staged videos, and they use their pain as a weapon. And that includes not just returning bodies, but actually parading them in coffins and forcing the families to relive the nightmare over and over again. And they don't just attack Israel. They turn on those GoPros to make sure the whole world sees it, spreading terror far beyond the Middle East. And so this isn't about military strength. It's about the perception of strength. And Hamas understands that fear spreads much faster than bullets. Now, I want to deep dive into the psych warfare strategy even more. Hamas's psychological strategy is built on three pillars: terror, manipulation, and media control. Hamas doesn't just want to kill. They want to stage the murder. The horror isn't just in the act, it's how they present it to the world. It's calculated brutality designed for maximum emotional trauma. And that's why they target civilians deliberately, because they know that killing families, women and children, causes the most emotional devastation. It allows them to drag out the pain, delaying hostage releases and using families as bargaining chips. And they publicly display those corpses in those boxes and taunt Israel to deepen the psychological wounds. So this isn't really about resistance. This is about making sure the pain never stops. This episode of the Aaron Cohen Show is brought to you by Merkava Coffee. This is the official coffee of the Aaron Cohen Show. When I served in the IDF, coffee wasn't just coffee, it was fuel. And in the special operations world, there were nights with no sleep, missions that stretched for days, and no room for mistakes. Coffee was serious, and it kept us sharp, locked in, and ready to move. And let me tell you something, I still take it seriously. And that's why Merkava Coffee, strong, no nonsense, battle tested, no fluff, no gimmicks, just good, bold coffee for the people who need to be at their best. And if you start your day like I do, like it's a mission, you know why this matters. Hit the link down in the description and grab yourself a triple order and help keep the lights on and support the Aaron Cohen Show. Appreciate you guys. And then they take it even further. Hamas controls the narrative. They manipulate the media. They exaggerate the casualty numbers, which we've been seeing, which are absolute nonsense, and then play victim while their own people celebrate the slaughter of babies. And guess what? It works. Western journalists amplify their message without questioning any of it. Social media gets flooded with their BS propaganda, completely drowning out the reality. And this is straight out of the terrorism playbook. These are why counterterrorism units were formed. Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, Duvdevan, Sed, Matkal, Hamas. Public executions, body mutilations, hostage propaganda videos. But it's not just aimed at Israel. Hamas also wants to re-energize its supporters to radicalize more young Palestinians and signal defiance to the broader Arab world. And it's gone all the way to the West. And Hamas isn't just fighting a military war. They're waging an ultimate war to control that perception. And that's why every Muslim Arab across the West has latched on to this crazy nonsense garbage ideology. They feel emboldened. Hamas is betting everything on this psychological warfare. It's their main weapon. But here's the truth. They don't want to admit it's failing. And it's failing on every front. And I'm going to explain to you why. First, regardless of what you see in the media, Israeli morale isn't collapsing. It's hardening. I lived in Israel. I know Israelis. The images of murdered children and hostage videos, the bodies being paraded through Gaza, these aren't breaking Israel. They're making Israelis more committed, and they're bringing them closer together to be able to finish Hamas off once and for all. Two, Hamas expected international support unilaterally, but even the Arab leaders are turning against them. Egypt doesn't want anything to do with the Palestinians. And the Saudis, they don't want to be dragged into Hamas's war. The region sees Hamas for what it is, a cancer that threatens Middle East stability. But Hamas still has a couple of friends in the neighborhood. You've got Qatar. That's the same country that's still playing both sides, telling the West they want peace while funneling money to the very terrorists who murdered the Israeli families. And Hamas's leadership isn't suffering in Gaza. They're living abroad now in Turkey in five-star hotels with full protection. Not for long. And Turkey's Erdogan loves to pose as the protector of the Palestinians. But what he's really doing is harboring terrorists, and he knows it. And Hamas uses Turkey now as a safe zone to continue orchestrating all these terror attacks, move money, and direct operations. We just saw these bus explosions in Israel. They aren't just supporters. Turkey is complicit. The Arab world knows it, and they see it. And Turkey is now fertile ground for Israeli operations. And it isn't just Hamas that's losing this war. Their leaders, their planners, their foot soldiers, every single one of them is now within Israel's optics. And they have been for quite some time. Mossad has a long memory and even a longer reach. And there's nowhere for these terrorists to hide. No border will protect them. No underground tunnel is deep enough to escape what's coming. And inside Gaza, some of the best special operations unit Duvdevan Yamas, the Commando Brigade She'et Shalosh Esrei Shel Dag Yachlom, Israel's elite undercover counter-terror units are already working, moving in the shadows. This is what they do, and nobody does this better than Israel. And every single terrorist who took part in the slaughter, who touched a hostage, who planned an attack, who harbored a terrorist and kept them in their homes, those innocent Palestinian civilians, anybody who got their hands dirty is a dead man walking. And so I want to close it out with this. La farkatu in uhal al-harb al-nafsiyya ralta ka'asir Israel. Fa inte jartan. Mafiraja al-wara. Waqtum khalas. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. Let me know what you guys think about these psychological tactics. Do you think that Israel is on top here? Do you think that Israel has the resilience and will come through this thing in the end? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm going to come back to this as more of these hostages get released and update you guys. And do me a favor, if you guys are a fan of the show, grab yourself a couple of bags of Merkava coffee, the official sponsor of the Aaron Cohen Show. Hit the link down in the description and grab yourself a 3-bag pack. Merkava coffee is named after Israel's famed battle tank, and every bag you purchase helps keep the lights on in the studio, and I promise you, you will not regret ordering this coffee. It keeps the lights on. If you guys are mission focused like I am when you wake up in the morning, you need a strong cup of Joe to turn the lights on and get you moving. Merkava coffee will get you there. Hit the link down in the description and grab yourself a bag and help support the show. It helps me to continue to combat that garbage, anti-Israel misinformation and propaganda that's out there. Appreciate you guys and appreciate the support. I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching the Aaron Cohen Show, and I'll catch you guys soon on the next one.